I don't want to be Doug. I don't want to be Doug. The broadcast is going. All right. Yeah. Everyone's just sitting there coughing. The broadcast is going. I think we're good to go. Yeah. Everyone's just sitting there coughing. The broadcast is going.
Sir, please turn your radio down.
Oh, yeah, I have to go mute that. Right. There we go. Sorry, everyone. We don't know what the hell we're doing right now. So we're figuring it out.
Or any other time.
Pretty good for binging later when we have a whole bunch of these interviews and they can go back and laugh at the early ones.
Yeah, so it'll be much less irritating then.
I'm Josh Blaylock, the Commander-in-Chief of Devil's Due, and with me is DB Stanley and Daniel Leister, the creators of Lord of Gore, and lots of other.
At the top.
And yes, DB's cat. I'm gonna have to bring in the puppy later and just sit here.
We'll all have our animals just sitting here and answer through them.
We'll probably get a lot more. So really simple concept here. The comic book commentary is basically like when you're watching a movie or an old DVD commentary, and we're just going along with the film. Well, here we're going along with the comic books and talking about stuff and just shooting the shit. So feel free, guys, to divert to anything. If you want to talk about how creepy your Air BnB bedroom was at Louisville Supercon.
It was beautiful.
Process.
Does anybody do the commentaries anymore at all on DVDs?
I think it's like when you buy the extras on like iTunes, you buy the extra package.
And they still do a little bit? Because I don't remember seeing like it, because it used to be a really big thing, and now it's like don't really see it that much.
Less publicized than it used to be. I think they still put them on most of the discs, though.
Doug would know. Doug, everyone's deep.
Maybe. Probably.
Yeah. Doug would know because he has a freakishly encyclopedic knowledge of all things film.
You watch 1 or 2 a day?
Misspent youth, misspent middle age, misspent.
I think like 1910, before there even really was a cinema. I don't know how, but. All right, so anyway, I'll want to just kind of jump in here. One of the things that I always really liked about, I thought it was really clever about the Lord of Gore series. Well, Doug, why don't we just start with you giving a rundown of what the series is about?
Okay, sure. I'll give you the pitch that I've honed over the last 2 years on the road. Character on the cover is the Headsman, iconic slasher character like a Freddy or a Jason, star of his own film series, The Lord of Gore. Screenwriter of those movies, Danny Graves, gets fired, but comes into possession of a videotape, which proves that one of the iconic special effects from the very first Lord of Gore film was an actual murder. Before he can figure out what to do with that tape, take it to the cops like he should, possibly use it to get his job back, Headsman comes looking for him.
Yep, that's
yeah, that pretty much takes me into issue 1 then.
Do that again while I have to figure out how to actually present the image nicely.
Excuse me. There you go.
Can you please not cough, Dan? We don't like to
I know.
know.
All right.
All right.
Hey, at least you're not seeing Dan in person and getting those germs on you. So you're in the safety of your own home watching Dan hack things up.
Yep.
So we can dive into the issue individually, but one of the things I wanted to go over was how there were variant covers for each issue, starting with issue 2, that went into these awesome parodies of famous classic slasher flicks. So we had Lord of Gore #2. This would be the first cover in question. Is that showing up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is not.
Technical difficulties, folks. Please stand by. There you go.
Yeah, so for this we had this was the parody of The Mutilator.
Yeah, actually a film I had never seen until Dan did the cover, and then I ended up watching it later on YouTube. Actually halfway decent. Story's a little out there, but the gore effects are really incredible for a super low budget film back in the early to mid 80s.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually seen it. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's worth a watch.
I've been back and forth.
Howler there.
A little more challenging than I thought it would be. So
There's a close up of #2.
How did you guys meet on the, or how did you guys connect on starting this whole project before I came along?
Both. I went out to was it Indianapolis horror convention, Days of the Dead? Or was it
Days of the Dead? Yeah, that's what it was. I had gone. I went with a good friend of mine, Mark Souders, who actually is one of the backers. One of the guys that got his head chopped off in the old double page spread in the back of the trade. And yeah, we actually the main reason I went was to see Dick Miller, the old character actor, star of Gremlins, had The Howling. You know, he's the guy that sells them the silver bullets.
Yep.
Famous for being in every Joe Dante film in the 80s and the early 90s.
Yep.
And, yeah, Dan was doing hack slash and just happened to be set up there. And my buddy Mark actually commissioned him to do a Cassie Hack versus Jason piece. Cassie hiding around the edge of a cabin on Crystal Lake. Jason kind of walking into the trap. And when he got that a couple weeks later, it showed up and it was just gorgeous. And I thought to myself, hey, I had this 1/3 of a screenplay I'd written back when I was out in La La Land trying to make it. And I thought, you know, I got a horror artist here who might be interested in doing it. I had Mark hook me up with him, you know, tell him, hey, I'll pay you a page rate if you'll draw the book.
Yeah, I mean, we met at the convention, and then did we go out and have dinner or something that night, or just talk on the phone later? I can't remember.
Not till later. Had some email contacts.
I mean, we had dinner in Chicago one time.
Yeah, C2E2, we started hanging out more, and yeah, we set up. We put together a pitch. I think it was 6 pages of art and a story synopsis, and then Dan, of course, knew Josh through working with him.
Working with Hack Slash, yep.
Yep. And handed it off. And then Josh saw something in it, whatever his demented little mind saw in this piece of whatever. And there we go. The rest is history so far. So far, so good.
It's, you know, this slasher story, it's truly a murder mystery that takes place inside. And we may or may not be dealing with a real slasher. Actually, here's those covers. Are those showing up?
Yeah.
It looks like a DVD cover there for The Mutilator. And that's actually one of the alternative art pieces. It's the same setup, but yeah, it doesn't look anything like the actual the A poster.
So
I think
this was the
I think that's the one I used. I'm not sure.
Is that the one you used? Yeah, because the other one seems to be more popular. That one was kind of like maybe a B poster. It's weird why they redrew almost exactly the same thing. I'm not really sure why they did it.
There we go. I don't know why this has been such a pain in the ass to get it to. I'm like you. I'm not actually scrolling on YouTube. I'm scrolling on the preview program. So, and then I just realized it's not actually scrolling with me. So I click on it. But there we go. This was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, that thing just translated so well. As you can see on the tagline there, I barely changed it. I think I changed "there out for blood" to "he's out for blood."
That one looked really nice.
Well, and Sean Forney, of credit where it's due. He really kicked out the jams on the colors on that cover.
Crap out of that one, yeah.
One of the best pieces he did. Yeah, just all that blue just looked gorgeous.
Sean's been the colorist on the whole series.
Almost the whole.
Almost the first 3 and into issue 4, and then he got busy with some other stuff.
Yeah,
and we had to move on. Yeah. Well, he's got stuff to do. Dollar bills to be made. So yeah, no, but yeah, he did a great job.
Cool. I don't have the other.
I don't know. I mean, when we were talking about the whole thing, putting it together and everything, this is just one of the ideas I thought about would be fun to play with just since the story has to do with the horror movie industry, just going back and using old 70s, especially 70s posters, because those were just so much fun and crazy, for the covers for the book. So we just did those, and I think Doug just ran with the idea too, was really happy with it.
Yeah, they were pretty much done before I knew much about it, but when I saw them, I thought they were great. So worked for me.
Did I not even ask, like, here's the covers?
Hey, they're done. I'm happy. They're done. They look good. I'm happy.
Oh, here we go. Side by side.
Some of them actually.
Final color from the comic book.
Hey, look at that. Nice.
Yeah, some of them, I don't know, just I try not to really like rip it off, but I mean, is it a rip off or I can't tell because I mean, put the headsman in there.
It's an homage.
Homage.
I like how they've got the guys like his t-shirts just unbuttoned, like that one gross little unbuttoned area near your gut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where she's probably scratched him and ripped his shirt open.
You sick fucks.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Maniac does have probably the greatest exploding head effect Tom Savini ever did. Yeah.
Is that the one where he got shot with a shotgun?
Yeah, through the windshield of the car. He's the actual actor too, so it's a cast of his own head exploding. So.
Should we go into the first issue?
Go ahead.
Sure.
All right. So one thing this does is it, I really like it starts out in the thick of the action, and then jumps right into a very grounded Comic-Con scene. So we kind of know what's coming, but then this is sort of a precursor to what happens throughout the book. Is just about how many characters there are. We're dealing with a legacy of people around this character.
Oh yeah, totally.
There's like, who was it? Kane Hodder? Is that Jason?
Yeah, Kane Hodder was 6 through 8, I think it is.
There's all these actors who become famous for like wearing the suits of these slashers over the years, but no one really knows what they look like. And there may have been, like 3 or 4 of them along the way. Louisville
Supercon, where we were just 2 weeks ago or whatever, 2 weekends ago, CJ Graham was there. Friday, the Jason from Friday the 13th, Part 3. So I mean, yeah, these guys, there are people that collectors that of course want every Jason signature, every Michael Myers signature. But just the completionists, like Bond collectors, James Bond or anything else.
Like the core cast of characters that really comes through in the first couple issues here is this great mix of, just so true to life. You've got the professional screenwriter, and then you've got this like super fan, but he's sort of started to carry weight, in the industry because of his blog and his following.
Right.
And then we, little interactions with the actors and actresses here and there. And it just really captures the sort of what it's like, at least from the comic book side of the business, when you're working, when you're going to all these live events. And horror is probably one of the only genres of film sort of sci-fi, I guess. But they have these conventions where you can really go interact with all the people involved in the project.
That issue,
Comic-Con.
Go back real quick.
Yeah, you guys just kind of guide me through whatever pages you want to go here, because I'm sort of just bouncing around. And
that panel 2, I was playing around and with the splatter behind his head, like it blew his mind. I was just, he's like, oh my God, Derek Pike.
Either that or somebody just missed him with a paintball.
Yeah,
it's one or the other.
One of the things, we were originally going to do this in black and white, so I did a lot of Zipatone work. And when we presented it to Josh, he's like, yeah, so when are you guys going to get it colored? And I'm like, so I actually wanted to try and see, because I've seen books that were colored with the Zipatone, and I was curious to see what that looked like. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. And then eventually we just dropped it, and the colors that we got to finish up the book just did an amazing job finishing it up. So we'll probably end up just dropping the Zipatone since we're doing it all in color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The image book Motor Crush, which was out at about the same time our first few issues came out, was also doing a lot of the zip with the color. I thought that actually kind of looked a lot like ours too. I thought they were akin.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh yeah, she did a great job.
Good stuff.
Did I already pass the scene with the drawn and quartered?
Not yet, I don't think.
Not yet. No, he's not on stage yet, Sebastian.
I don't know. One of these things about drawing books is, especially the first issue, you're still getting so used to all the characters and drawing everybody. It doesn't feel like you got a handle of the thing till like 2 or 3 issues in.
We do have to go back and talk about this because that's one of the best ever. But this is reminiscent to me of Army of Darkness too. So yeah, one of my favorite parts is I always say her name wrong.
The witch,
Becca Bianchi.
Yeah, Bianchi. Is like famous for her death scene of being drawn and quartered in the movie.
Right. Yeah, the first one.
This right here, was this just inspiration, or is this based on anything specific?
Well, I wanted to give him something like badass to say, so I think the "if and I offend thee, pluck it out" was just something I had in my head, maybe from Bible school or Bible study or whatever. And I thought, well, torture headsman, pluck the eye out. Yeah, what the hell? It'll work. So yeah, I just wanted to do something audacious to kind of start the ball rolling on the whole gore side of it.
What we put together in the preview book for all of this, this just blows my mind, is the level of detail that Doug put into creating this universe of this history of this character, and not just the character, but the company. Yeah, like it's nuts. Like, you're out of your mind. But
thank you. I'll take it as a compliment.
It's not just like, here's the headsman, and he was like some cheesy B movie thing that blew up and became like this famous horror icon. It was made super cheap because there was the producer was trying to cut corners and save money. There happened to be some like Shakespearean film being running, whatever this was, 1960, whatever. And then they went ahead and, when that movie wasn't shooting, the horror movie crew used the set to make this headsman film. So he was the headsman because it made sense, the setting for
Roger Corman style. If you
yeah.
If you make one movie with a set, cool, but if you're not making at least 2 with the same set, you're just wasting money, kind of thing.
And there's like a bankruptcy involved that goes back into these people infighting between producers and descendants, and and so this is all what is the backstory that comes out later, and why people are getting killed, and what really is starting to unravel as the stories as like the plot unfolds.
Yeah, issue 3 is where you really start to go down the rabbit hole with all of the history of UWP, United World Pictures, which is just a kind of a little analog for American International Pictures, which was the ones that made Attack of the Crab Monsters and all the Corman Poe films back in the 60s, which are actually pretty good. And I mean, some good stuff, like all the teenage beach movies, you know, Annette Funicello, all that crap. Frankie and Annette. So they cast a wide net of trying to pick up teenage culture in the 50s and 60s, and I tried to kind of use that as a basis for this fake studio. Cool. It's still scratching, still trying to survive, you know, 40 years, 50 years later.
Your cat is just hanging out perfectly back there.
Yeah, I know. She's perfect for the frames right in the corner.
Just watching.
Yeah, so I'll go back to the screen here. You guys just guide me.
Well, sorry, Dan's got a touch of the typhus, so he'll be right.
Or jump around to any other.
Yeah, if you want to just keep running through pages, we can just,
totally. We'll start grabbing stuff.
Yeah, I got some.
Really?
I got a cool story when we get to. I will save it for issue 3 though. When we
got the nice trade that came out. Going out to the Kickstarter people soon.
Sometimes Doug forgets handlebars on motorcycles. I mean, Dan. But Doug forgot to write it in.
I forgot to write that there were handlebars on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
It's an oversight.
There are totally handlebars on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Is there any? You're kind of on.
It's kind of deep.
You guys had to go back and forth on working.
Actually, I don't know, kind of a deep throat thing going on with the whole meeting in the
parking lot.
Sure. Did it all just work perfectly smoothly?
Honestly, I gave him the script. A few things got changed. I mean, the one thing I remember was the convention floor was originally I wrote it as a double-page splash, and he made it just a single page. But I don't. I always said, you know, I mean, as long as the words fit, I kind of just let Dan do what he wants. Yeah, I'll give him a full script. That's a great panel. I always. That's of course. Probably most people see it as a Bernie Wrightson swipe from Cycle of the Werewolf, the old Stephen King novella.
Except
where
was
he did
werewolf's like grabbing the guy's face and ripping the front of his face off.
Yeah, with in Cycle, he's actually pulling back and you can see his teeth through his cheek where the werewolf is torn it.
Easter eggs like this, like the Wrightson riff and like the variant parody covers. This, and actually people watching, this gets into some of this crazy history, going into the backstory.
Yeah, really great design work by Nick Accardi.
Yeah, he put together the whole thing really nicely.
Yeah, and he does a great job on the logos and different things. So
the posters,
posters
look like old movie posters.
Yeah.
Going into issue 2 here.
Yeah, 2's a lot of fun. 2 pretty much an action issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked that you did in this because one of my pet peeves in like old school comics, even back when it was like a thing that everyone just did, is there was so much conversation and fights, and I do it every now. I do have quips and stuff like that in fights, but just the scene where that's pretty. I like the lack of dialogue and just the guy saying like shit, and trying to get away.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. These guys are these are classic.
Fanboys.
I don't know if that came off quite so well. I don't know if I quite got that they're coming out from the con.
No, I think you did. They look like dudes cosplaying. Yeah. I like the expressions. Facial expressions are always good. One of Dan's strong suits. Drop the X, does the whole thing. Yeah. I thought that worked well.
there's a scene I did like one of the first Mercy Sparks issues where she's just fighting this angel, and they're it sounds weird when you're writing like huff and like gack and all these weird little sounds, but
that's part of the fun.
Slammed against the wall and fall out of windows and shit. I mean, that's what it really it works.
Yeah, what is that? Onomatopoeia, where you're trying to make the words look like the sounds. Yeah, it's not as easy as it looks. It's partly me and partly Crank, our fabulous letterer. Yep. Letterer of, I think, 87% of all books on the market, I believe.
He
does a lot.
He does a bunch of them. They're great, but the reason why is he's a great talent. So.
Gets the work done.
There's a lot of talent on this book, and I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about everybody around me, and I think it shows. It's really gratifying.
Yeah, it has to be the sound of glass breaking. There's so many ways to do it.
Yeah, I did like the panel, the broken side mirror. I thought that was slick. I don't know if I came up with that or Dan did. Yeah, there it is. Saw it went by.
So,
crash.
Oh, that was this scene. I want to see this scene in a movie right here. This is just right when the elasticity of the metal cables just barely stops it.
Right in his face.
Yeah, Dan did a great job on that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, when I wrote it, I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know, is the physics of this going to work? Is he even going to know what I'm talking about? But he's like, yeah, like in RoboCop.
Yeah, once you mention a fight scene in a garage park, I'm like, RoboCop, right there.
It was weird because I didn't even think of that. Although I do, there's a total RoboCop riff later on that we can talk about. Yeah.
This is one of those fucking garages where you can see your car and you can't get to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like to it down.
The way that he is right here.
Oh, that's one of my favorite drawings right there, one of the panels.
Right here where he's twisted? Or
no, right, the face right there. That Sean just colored that with the light and everything. It just looks so nice.
Yeah, Abby's face.
Yeah, just perfect. Every once in a while, like you go, oh, I did that right.
Instead of having it colored, you see your mistakes.
I kind of drew Louis C.K. for that guy. I don't know why I just grabbed him. It's like Louis C.K.
I did not know that because he's actually appeared in some other stories of ours as well, and different artists, unbeknownst to me until after they happened.
Yeah.
Although at the time it was like, oh, why'd you do that to Louis? And now it's kind of like, oh well, that works.
All right, now this page I totally screwed up on. I screwed the pooch on this one. I don't know what I was thinking because it was pretty clear in the script, but I had everything down. But then I put Derek Pike in there coming in with the phone.
Yeah, you put Derek instead of Matt.
Who's Derek Pike in the
audience? and you're like, what the hell are you doing? And if you can see around Matt, there's like a little bit of a halo around him. A little bit. That's where I erased him and put the other guy in there.
Patched him over.
Yep, I put a patch in there.
He was a larger, muscular person.
He was. He was a bigger guy. But I think it turned out okay.
Yeah, no, you can't tell. And then, yeah, hospital, and that leads us into the great Garrett Fort story about Garrett Fort's nervous breakdown, which is creepy as hell. Combination of Dan's line art and Sean's coloring.
Yeah, I feel like we should, I want to explain a lot of character names, but at the same time, I don't know if anyone's new to this. We don't want to ruin too much. There may or may not be spoilers. This is a maybe not spoiler alert. I do like this 80s flashback.
I forgot.
Yeah.
In the mirror, I forgot to put the thing on his nose, the bandage on his nose, so I had to patch that in.
Right, because that's after after the incident.
I don't know. I think I was just trying to go too fast or something, but there's just little things here and there. I don't think I screwed up on anything major, but just little things here and there I would just miss or put the wrong person in there or something.
This guy in probably one of the most notorious scenes from the series who ripped his own nose off with a pair of singeing hot pliers.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Well, if my thing stops scrolling or anything, or whatever, if I'm on something that looks like it doesn't make sense, please let me know, because.
No, you're going good. Yeah, this is the big flashbacks coming up here.
Yeah, I'm just kind of following along with my book and seeing if I can think of anything to say.
All right, spoiler alert for anyone watching. Close your eyes.
The foot sitting upright with I think there's a foot sitting upright with the bone. Yeah, the middle panel at the bottom there is creepy as hell.
Yeah, this one was just disgusting.
What you hired me for, man. The book,
that's right.
Lord of Gore. You got to have something in there.
Well, a lot of people were disappointed. You say Lord of Gore. There wasn't enough gore in the first issue. I tried to make up for it in the second.
And third and fourth.
Yeah.
There it is.
I should have probably had him like chewing on it, like pulling out.
It's probably the best panel ever. The man in his tidy whities jumping out.
The jumping through the window is an homage, or at least I was inspired by the movie Manhunter. There's the scene where William Peterson jumps through that window late in the game when he's.
I haven't seen that.
That's how this comic is.
Hannibal, right?
Things in it for the
Yeah, it's the very first lecture.
Horror fan.
Yeah. Well, horror, yeah, also crime, different stuff. Because it kind of straddles the line a little bit. There's a whole lot of crimes going on inside all the horror, which will become apparent later.
Mm-hmm. And I like that panel of them putting him in the car. I don't know. Turned out nice.
Yeah.
And there's that panel again.
Yep.
Yeah.
In color.
Yeah, that's a comeuppance. That's the memorabilia dealer that Danny got into it with in the first issue.
I like the zipper tone and the black and white version of that a lot. I don't want to. This is one book where I definitely don't want to scroll too much into the, some of the later issues.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to give up the end of 5, especially.
Yeah. Is there anything I should jump to?
Issue 3, you can go ahead and go through to where they're showing maybe the tape of Sebastian in that. But there is actually a tape that comes out of the murder that is the special effect. Because there's an interesting story that goes with that.
You have that with you? I can go directly to that page, or I'll just go straight to this totally gory intro right here.
Yeah, I can probably get here.
I give the people a little something while they wait for you to find that.
No, okay, that's page 1 of issue 3. 2. Actually, just a couple more pages. You're right there.
There's the blood. There's the blood.
But anyway, the whole thing is with the drawn and quartered witch, that special effect actually being a murder. It was a rumor for years, and then I guess Christina Lindbergh confirmed it in a 2006 interview. Does anybody that knows the film They Call Her One Eye was the American title, but Thriller, A Cruel Picture. It's actually the one that Tarantino took a lot of the bride character of Uma Thurman from the character in that movie, and it's also why Daryl Hannah wears the eye patch as an homage to that. Well, when they call her One Eye, she actually is attacked at one point and has her eye sliced with a scalpel. It was always rumored for years that they used an actual corpse for it, and Christina Lindbergh confirmed that an actual corpse was used for the eye slice. It was a woman who had committed suicide. They went to the hospital to film it. It's kind of, it was 1973, but it's still one of those things like, oh my God.
Didn't
nobody's family complained? Nobody But yeah, it's a creepy thing. You think this stuff isn't real, and then you hear something like that, and you're like, ooh.
Didn't Salvador Dali do a movie with a guy where they did something where they cut somebody's eye like that?
On Sean Andalou, yeah. It was a film made by Dali and Louis Buñuel back in the early 30s. Yeah, the eye slice. Yeah, it's a famous sequence from that.
Oh.
So I'm curious, like, did it look like the most amazing special effects anyone had ever seen for an eye slice?
Probably.
It looked real, and I guess there's a reason.
It's so fake because they're used to seeing what they think is real.
Yeah. But it's kind of creepy. It's one of those things you slow down the DVD, and this is before I knew that, and I was like trying to see how they did it, kind of like, I mean, because it didn't look fake exactly, and it's like, you know, you're looking and you're like, wait a second.
Huh.
I can't figure this out. And it's like, oh, okay.
I haven't seen that Thriller movie for a long time. I'll have to check that out again.
Yeah,
What's the movie again?
It's called Thriller, A Cruel Picture. Yeah, it's a Swedish film from 73.
It's pretty cool. It's worth checking out. Yeah.
It's not bad. It's pretty decent.
The closest I would have seen to that would be like dissecting a cow's eye in 8th grade biology.
Yeah, go check out Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh yeah, well, cannibal movies. That's a whole nother trip down the rabbit hole there.
No cannibals in this. Just I never. We just showed cannibals.
Well, actually, there are cannibals in this, right? He was chewing on an arm earlier.
That's total
no cannibals. Just good old fashioned head chopping and porn. But we do.
So that was my interesting story of something that kind of haunted me, and then
that's
really the book.
I didn't know that about the movie.
Yeah, learn something new every day. See,
no, but it's a really good idea to have that in the movie, to where they put that scene of actually possibly killing someone in the movie. That's one of the things that drew me to the book, was just that idea. Is just that it could almost happen.
No. Well, it's disturbing. I mean, it's always the whole snuff thing as to whether those actually exist. I mean, you assume they have to somewhere, but of course, you kind of hope they don't. You never know depths of human depravity.
Well, I mean, where's the faces of death and all that.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, that's of course. Well, I mean, the animal stuff is real, and the human stuff is fake.
Most of it's just remade stuff. I watched one video that some friends from college got. It was like Too Hot for Death, something like that. No, it was called Too Hot for TV, and all of it was like news reporters like on the scene of places, and just people like getting killed, and just really horrible stuff. And I was like, wow, why am I watching this?
Yeah, it's one of those things you want to test yourself or something when you're young. It's one of those things when you're young, you want to see if I got that strong a stomach, and then later you're like, why did I ever think I needed it?
I don't know if it was I was testing it. I was just curious, or just some kind of morbid curiosity. I don't know what it was.
Oh yeah, well, we all have it. Well, that gets right to the heart of why these slasher films and that are interesting to us in the first place. I mean, sex and death, man. So,
yeah. Oh,
and the fine line between them.
Let me see if I can find anything in the background of that shot. I don't know. I just liked how
I didn't even think about this. Like, we have to make sure we don't get flagged by YouTube or something.
There's nothing horrible. It's all
people are no longer welcome.
All material in the last week.
There's nothing horrible. I tried to be just rated R with it, and not like, that's even like PG-13.
What's weird about some of this stuff, I mean, you can have the most gratuitous scene in the world on HBO on Game of Thrones, but then there's other, people will post some picture online of nipples, and they just get banned and flagged as, adult material.
We're the Puritan culture.
Like the adult way versus the art. Any true rhyme or reason for why one's one, one's the other.
Oh, yeah, that's the timeless question. Public, local standards and community standards. And, societal standards.
All that bullpucky.
Yeah. We don't have any questions or anything. This is like only the second one of these we've done, so I think as we start to do them more, people will be like chiming in and asking about things they wanted to know about certain titles. Anything else? We're actually over our half hour we were going to do. So, anything to chime in on before we?
Can we not go any further in? Are we going to show too much?
We showed a lot. I mean, probably not to anybody's appetite whet that doesn't want to, that hasn't read it yet.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just really happy with.
So yeah, there's there's 5 issues of Lord of Gore so far. You can actually buy them all on the Devil's Due web store. I actually posted a link down in the comments, and they are pretty. And oh yeah, that's the trade paperback is on the way. You'll be able to get the collected edition. It's in the States right now. We're waiting to have it delivered. So
yep,
yeah,
soon. Getting those to
exciting.
Were they be able to pick up any of the trades on a website, the Devil's Due website or anything once the reward?
Sorry, I lost you.
Will they be able to pick up the trade on the Devil's Due website or anything?
Yeah, it'll be on the Devil's Due website, devilsdue.net. Just go to and have it. It'll be available in any English-speaking world. You know, if you can't get it from them, order from us. And then we've also got it. It'll be on Comixology for download. It'll be on Kindle for download, and available digitally through our website as well to any number of Comic Cons in North America.
Yes. My first step in world domination. Yes.
Well,
awesome. Thanks everybody who was listening. If there was anyone listening,
the 2 people on and off.
We have, yes.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to this 2027. Watching old YouTube archives.
We appreciate it.
And thanks for watching us as we get used to doing these. Look forward to doing a lot more. Thanks, Dan and Doug, for joining me late.
Anytime.
We will see you later.